Well, hello, everybody. This is Chris Pfluger. I'm the Chief Development Officer here at We Insure. And I was going to go out today and visit with some prospects, try to drum up some new business. So I'm going to tell you what that looks like. So I'm going to have to mask up a little bit, a little mask up, right? I'm going to protect my eyes as I go through. I'm not going to be able to see because this fog's up at the same time. Bringing a whole stack of my business cards, but fortunately I'm going to have to spray them all down because no one's going to take them from me because of the environment we're in today. So really, really not terribly convenient. And frankly, no one wants to see me. And if I did walk into the front door of most of these offices, they're not there. So how do I today, in today's environment and going through the future, how am I going to do that? How am I going to stay in front of my sphere of influence? How am I going to stay in front of the prospects that I want to talk to on a day-to-day basis? How does that happen in today's environment? So I'm not walking the door. I'm not bringing in donuts. I'm not popping in. I'm not meeting you at the Starbucks. I'm not going to Panera Bread for a lunch. None of that is really happening. Honestly, in the last 6 months, I've had 2 client meetings live, and where I did mask up and go through the whole process. And it felt, great to see people face to face. But the reality is, nobody wants to see me face to face during our current pandemic. So going forward, we're going to start using terms, and if you haven't already, which was a great idea, you will be in the future, digital marketing, digital advertising, retargeting, geo-targeting, prospecting to your list, staying in front of your sphere. All of these things come up. How do I do that? How do I get on maybe streaming TV? Well, all of this is not only happening today, it was happening for the last few years, and a lot of the people who are proactive really jumped on that bandwagon. But today you really stand out if you figured it out. Well, everybody talks about it, right? Everybody talks about it in franchising, they talk about it in real estate, they talk about it in insurance, they talk about it in all these different industries. How do I stand out amongst this crowd of noise that goes on a day-to-day basis? And so we have figured that out through one of our partners. That's the best way to do it. So I'd like to introduce and welcome to our We Wonder. We wonder, how do you stay in front of your clients? How do you stay in front of your prospects? How do you stay relevant in today's environment? And we would like to welcome both Alex and West to our We Wonder live broadcast today, and they are with Adwerx. So I am overly familiar with both of these gentlemen because I've worked with them in a prior life when I was running the national sales team at Remax. And you guys started kind of in that real estate vertical early on, and we'll talk about that. And then you also now have expanded into multiple verticals. And so you brought this wonderful, not only technology, but ability to stay relevant to all of our sales folks and representatives out there in different industries. You brought this to the forefront, really at pennies on the dollar of what they could do on their own. So I want to say welcome.
Chris, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having us.
And if you wouldn't mind, Wes, you may want to start, just introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about, tell us about Adwerx.
Yeah, absolutely. So hello to everyone on the Facebook Live here. My name's Wes. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Adwerx. I've been doing this for about 5 years. Chris threw out some of our favorite terms. We came from the music industry, went from the music industry to the real estate industry, and have now branched pretty heavily into insurance, mortgage, wealth management, as well as real estate, which is where we obviously knew Chris from his past life. And the reality is this is something that you can stand out with. We are going to do everything we can to try and help you all, stay in front of your book of business, stay in front of your, local prospects. And like Chris said, I think I've in person taken a grand total of 0 technical business meetings. I have met on the golf course, I think maybe 2-3 times, actually all in Denver, Chris. And it is, it's a new world. It is a new reality. I think these are terms that scare people, but they shouldn't. You guys have a great team behind you. You have people that are willing to help you, have access to this technology, and it gives you the opportunity to be at the, cutting edge of what's being done and at the forefront. And that's what we've done with Adwerx. We are plugged in, and we are constantly evaluating new technology, new partners, new things to pull into our platform to put your business, your marketing at the forefront of what stands out. And right now, there are large companies trying to figure out how they access, their clients on streaming TV. You guys already have that available with We Insure. So looking forward to sharing some of that, and looking forward to having a discussion with you, Chris. So Alex, going to introduce yourself as well.
Well, let me jump in, Alex. Let me ask you that. So introduce yourself, but let me ask you too. Do I have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars getting this all set up, finding an in-house person to help me create content? Do I need to do all of that just to be, in digital marketing? Do I have to do that?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chris. And my name's Alex Leedy. I'm on the business development team here at Adwerx. So you certainly can, but you definitely don't have to, right? So that is a huge misconception in digital marketing is, for most producers and in most industries, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to create the ads, much less where to show them, how to show them, who to target, and then how to deliver it, even once I get there. So one of the solutions that we're able to provide is really a way to cover each one of those things where ads are ready to go, right? So for We Insure, you guys helped us design these great ads that are ready to go for every agency owner, for every producer out of the box. All they have to do is pick where they want to target, who they have to target, and they can go ahead and run them. And it is a really, really cost-effective way to brand and stay in front of people. I know personally, just on the way to the grocery store, I passed 2 Geico billboards that just say Geico and motorcycle insurance, nothing else. Mm-hmm. I looked it up. Each one of those billboards is $2,000 a month. So that's $4,000 in North Carolina, where less than 2% of people own a motorcycle. So how can I be more targeted with that? How can I pick, okay, here are people who are actually doing browsing behavior online that lets us know they're in the market, people that live in specific areas, and at a much lower cost, but also in really premium channels that we'll cover in just a few minutes.
Well, and in terms of targeting, Chris, I can tell you Alex will never own a motorcycle. It has been a discussion we have had. Mm-hmm. So talk about not advertising to the right audience. That's the key component of that.
Never.
It's really a barrier too. Like for most businesses, especially small businesses or individual salespeople are looking to market their brand, whether it's in any industry. Like if I have an insurance location, I'm an agency owner, and I'm out there. Am I thinking to myself, I need a $2,000 billboard? I have to generate quite a few leads from that particular piece of advertising to make it worth my while. And as we know in advertising, it's very difficult to track that in any way. So you're throwing it out there and hoping that holistically you're getting a return. And with on the digital side, it's a little different. You can really target, you can really focus in on the people that really would be great prospects for you and great clients for you. So you can be very, very, very targeted. So when you're spending your dollar, it's going to the right place and it's getting the return.
Yeah, and Chris, think about the barrier to actually closing those leads. So, someone calls you, leaves you a voicemail, maybe sends you an email. I think all of us have tried to follow up with that and gotten nowhere. And you make 3 calls. If you're lucky, you send 2 emails and you get nothing. Actually, just in this last week, last Friday, just for fun, I used our service, launched an ad. It's this $85 a month to stay in front, just an example of cost there. To stay in front of what was my friends. I pulled in contacts that I hadn't talked to in quite some time. I had 5 people already, it's Wednesday, reach out to say, hello, and just, people with friends and all the way back from college to, 5-6 years ago. And what a nice communication to have. What a way to stay in front of them. These are people I know. I want to have that conversation. They'll talk to me. It's not a cold lead. It's not someone filling out form with, 888-555-555. This is a friend. I like that, rifle approach for a shotgun approach. I'd say that's a very apt analogy.
So we understand, obviously, we talked about the value is staying in front of all your connections. But I think there's a couple ways to approach this, right? You want to stay in front of your sphere of people because depending on what industry you're in, let's say you're in real estate or you're in insurance, you want people to think of you when they need real estate or insurance needs, right? You want to think of you. But as you've said, I've seen some of all the marketing materials, and we've talked about this in the past, just because they know you as a realtor or you as an insurance agent doesn't mean they don't know 6 others. Mm-hmm. How do you stay top of mind? And you're thinking, oh, I know that guy, and I've known him for 15 years, and I've had this happen to me with family members on the real estate side, where people are like, hey, we use this one guy, and he's not working out. Can you help us? Now? Did you forget I was doing this permanently? So it's, that's really on you as the individual to figure out a way to make sure you stay in front of them. So that's one aspect of it. But then staying, and really going out and prospecting to new folks, right? So I know that when people think of this, especially on the franchising side, when you talk about, national ad campaigns, and you talk about large, branding, we're moving into multiple states with We Insure. So you're talking about branding in those states as well. That's great. that works well, and that's something we do on a larger scale basis. But as an individual owner, how do I leverage something that Adwerx has, stay in front of the people I want to, and really market to new folks, just my folks, just to my office?
Well, Chris, I was not going to make you share that personal story. I know that one's a bit painful, but yeah, there's really two ways to do it. And it's important you stay in front of the right people. So on one side, everyone has their book of business. Most of us at the very least have, our phones, we have our contacts in there, emails, phone numbers. That's all you need to stay in front of those people. So with digital marketing, very passively, people don't want to be texted or called or emailed every day, but they don't mind seeing an ad every day, especially if it's their friend, their family, their insurance agent. So you can stay in front of your sphere of influence with, very simply uploading your contacts into our system. We can run a social, premium web. A lot of our ads are targeted to run, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, CNBC, ESPN. So you stay in front of those people, but also to your other point, you don't want to run for most people an ad across your entire, DMA, designated marketing area, across the state of Colorado. Chris and I are both in Colorado right now. The actual one, the Denver DMA, stretches from the eastern part of the state to the western part of the state. Most people don't work in an area that large. Don't you want to target the 2, 5, 10 miles around where you work? And beyond that, you put up a billboard, you got the student driver driving and the parent looking at their kid, they're not paying any attention to that billboard. Target the right people. So we're able to actually stay in front of people that are looking for insurance. So you have your book of business, you can target those individuals. I always recommend targeting those individuals. Easiest referrals you'll get. Average person knows about 3 insurance agents. Make sure you're the one that stays top of mind. Your brother doesn't call you later and say, "Oh, can you help me? My agent really, I wrecked my car and they didn't help me." Whatever that may be. But on the flip side, if you're going to target, in a geo, if you're going to target in your area, target the people that are the right audience. Target people that are looking for insurance. Make sure your spend is efficient. So 2 different ways we do it, Chris. Again, I always recommend, lowest barrier to entry first. That's your friends, your family, your current clients. And then after that, target people looking for insurance in your area.
Mm-hmm. And I think we all know the value of a referral in just about any industry, right? It's 4 times more likely to convert into business, 25% higher lifetime value, and then another 4 times more likelihood than any other client to refer somebody else, right? So you mentioned real estate, and a statistic we hear all the time there is 85% of home buyers and sellers say they'd use the same agent, 12% do. But in any industry, it's 29% who actually end up referring somebody or using the same person again. So I think there's this false narrative in word of mouth marketing that, well, most of my business is word of mouth. That's the only way that I can continue to get business. And there's not anything I can do to increase that, right? But it's unknowable how many word of mouth referrals you miss out on. If Wes and I are at a barbecue and he says, "You know what, Chris is the best agent in the world. You got to check him out." I say, "Great, please send me his info." Well, Wes is a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. We both forget. That's a referral that you potentially could have gotten that never happened. Now, if you're running a branding ad in my area and I've seen you before and then I see you again later, I'm like, "Oh, that's right, Chris. Wes totally mentioned how great he was. I should give that guy a call." So what it can really help do is close that loop and help try to get those people across the line who were almost referrals but weren't quite there.
Yeah, but Alex, I have to say that has to be incredibly expensive, right?
No, yeah, that's one of the best parts about digital marketing is, that rifle approach versus shotgun approach. You've got less bullets. So you're really focusing on exactly where you want to go and exactly who you want to target. And the goal is by keeping the audience much smaller and focusing on your key areas and people who are showing you what they're interested in, you're not wasting marketing dollars all over the country on people who are never going to turn into clients for you. So by keying on that local audience, for just a couple $100, really, you can run a pretty effective local marketing campaign online.
Well, it's funny you mention it because obviously, I've done this, for a period of time, and I've run some, and I've had people call me and say, "I saw you on ESPN's page. I saw you on the Wall Street Journal. I saw you in these areas. What are you doing?" It's not like I'm just popping up on something or I'm randomly sending them another text. This is showing up on major pages that people go to. And so explain how that works a little bit to me because, it's still kind of that, let's pull back the curtain. It's that little black box under that same term, that digital advertising, digital marketing term. Tell us a little bit about that. It's incredible how it works and it's very effective when it does work.
Yeah, Chris, I'll dive into that, and you and Alex stop me if I go too far down the technology hall. I think first I would start with what is really important is how you stand out doing that. People realize how innovative you are and how forward thinking you are when you show up on a page like ESPN. I don't think any of us have ever, 2 years ago, we'd never seen our friends on ESPN unless anyone on this call is friends with a, professional sports player. But now you can. And what we're able to do. So when you, in our system, whether it is, targeting a local geo, people interested in insurance, or targeting your book of business, when you are on ESPN, ESPN is pulling a lot of information from who you are. And this is a little bit the creepy and cool of digital advertising. I will be the first to admit that. But they actually know not only who you are, to your email address and phone number, but also a lot about you. So to give you guys a perfect example of this, if anyone here is on Twitter, if you haven't noticed or you haven't done it, Twitter is constantly asking for your phone number. And they're asking for it so that you can recover your account. Twitter does not care about you actually being able to recover your account. What they would like is your phone number so that advertisers can reach you by targeting just your phone number. That's part of what we're able to do, and that's true for a lot of websites. I use ESPN Plus to log in. I use my email address. ESPN then knows my email address, so they are able to target me based on my email address. And your clients are not, it's a very passive way. So again, while it extends over to a little bit the, what I would say, creepy side of things, it's actually very passive and people very much enjoy it. They like seeing their friends and family. They were going to see an ad there. So I think that's the piece to also keep in mind is if it wasn't Chris they were seeing, it was going to be the Amazon, pair of sneakers they were looking at. And I literally yesterday, I'll pull it up just so people can see, got a screenshot from, a friend I hadn't talked to again in quite some time that was willing to share with me they saw my ad. What a great connection, especially, hey, how are you doing? I'm working at We Insure now. I'd love to tell you a little bit about that. Let's catch up. I know it's not, this was a Facebook screenshot, but that was sent to me via text yesterday for those who can see it. And, what a great way to catch up with someone. I know not everyone wants to grab coffee now. Start a conversation over text. People are going to take a screenshot of your ad on ESPN. I'm a huge Mets fan. We lost again yesterday. I every time I go to check that box score, I see my ad and then I see the Mets are losing. It's a rather tragic example. I take screenshots of my own ads. For anyone that wants to too, anyone on our team is welcome to dive well deeper than that in terms of how it works. But again, whether it's based on your browsing history, you're interested in insurance, or based on you logging into websites or providing your phone number, you can reach those clients and you'll look really innovative. You will look very forward thinking showing up on ESPN.
And again, that helps leverage. Not only do you get an ROI because you can actually track, what kind of results you get, but it helps leverage, your marketing dollar and really put it in the place it needs to be. And I think that is the story that's being told here. And the most interesting part, and again, we'll touch on this real briefly, and then we'll go into the TV part of it, streaming TV. But the one thing I thought was the most beneficial as a franchisor, the biggest thing I'm concerned with is all of our owners going out there and creating their own material. That's honestly from a liability perspective. As a franchisor, you're like, do not do that, right? Because you're putting anything you want in there and you think, boy, I thought that looked good. And I changed the colors from red, white, and blue to orange and green. And I decided, I'm a Hurricanes fan, and that's what I'm going to do. No, you can't do that, right? So, or I can make some statements out there that really were, both, derogatory, but seemed funny at the time. And all of a sudden you get a call from our compliance department or legal saying, hey, you have to take that down. And, you may create a negative impact, even though you thought, man, I'm so creative. And nobody has time for that. Let's be honest. Nobody has time to create all their own marketing materials, all their own ads. So you have to outsource that. Well, who do I go to and how much does it cost? And I've got a friend that can help me do the whole thing. It's almost insurmountable when you talk about it, right? So that's why people don't understand it. The great thing about Adwerx, in my opinion, was the platform, right? The platform allowed, as a franchisor, for us to put approved material constantly being refreshed for We Insure, and that allows anyone who is one of our owners to go to the platform, sign up, and for every dollar they spend, they have an ad that goes directly to market their particular office. That's the part I think was the key.
Yeah, and Chris, for Katie's sake, and I will say, always leverage the power of the national brand that you have with We Insure. You want people to start recognizing the red and the blue and the We Insure logo. As you said, your friend's son may recommend that you will stand out with a black and green ad. Don't do it. We have had over 200,000 customers. I promise you, we have seen it all. We have seen the ads that people think they are being very striking on. It doesn't work. You guys have a great marketing team, a great brand, and that's where we hope to help you. We get it. I have built, even the ad I just shared, I built that myself. And the reality is I can't tell you right now on this call what the Adwerx hex codes are for the colors. I don't know them. I can go look them up, and that's my time to go look them up, as it would be your time to go look up the We Insure colors. We have that already plugged into the program. So the goal is, yes, you'll not only be able to leverage national brand, but you won't have to spend your time, trying to go figure it out. And we give you that framework, but also give you the freedom to, it's fun sometimes to run an ad to friends and family. Let's grab ice cream. Let's grab a coffee. Everyone has that personal message they like to get out there. The one I share, I was born on the 4th of July. I've gotten jokes about it my whole life. So I send it back a little to my friends and family in my ad, and I say happy birthday to myself around that time. So there are ways to leverage that personalization. But again, within the platform, it'll be very easy to stay on brand and leverage the national brand.
Mm-hmm. And individual producers love the ability to go in and make a little bit of changes here and there, right? So that they have the ability to personalize their ads a little bit. And if they really have one of those crazy ideas, they can make a custom ad, but before it ever goes live, it's going to go to compliance, right? Someone on your end gets an email that says, hey, Alex Leedy has this ad. Is this okay to run? And someone has to click go. So you give your producers the ability to get as creative as they want, but at the same time, you have that compliance to fall back on to know, if they get a little bit too rambunctious with their ads, we have the ability to tell them, hey, we love your enthusiasm. Here are the changes we'd recommend.
So it allows for a little creativity, but at least, approval before you do it. So just as an individual that runs an office and has, maybe 1 or 2 locations, I want to make sure that people are seeing my locations, and I want to throw a little spin on it, but I want to make sure it's approved, because the last thing I want to do is spend a lot of time on something and then have someone call me later and say, you can't do that. So
I don't think we want any lawyers involved, Chris. That's the goal here. Let's keep my father's a lawyer, so I think I can say that, but let's keep the lawyers out of it.
Yeah, so that's what this does. It also allows me a singular place to go to as an owner and go, okay, what can I do? It's already done for me, right? I don't have to come up with something special. I don't have to hire 6 guys. I don't have to have a team. It's already there for me. And it's just 2 buttons, and I'm pushing it out to those people. I upload a list, or I geo-target an area, and then I'm rocking and rolling. And so to me, we talk about We Insure being, the true future of insurance, right? Because it's a turnkey solution, all the support's done on the back end. We try to make it so easy for our owners to really just focus on growth, that this is one of those things. This is that next piece on the marketing side that allows you to be focused on growth. Don't spend a lot of time on this. We've already done all the due diligence and vetted everything and made it easy as one could make it for you to put this in with Adwerx. So that part I think was great, but there's another piece. There's another piece that we're going to talk about here. And this is when we talk a little bit about what people are doing today, right? They're watching streaming TV. They're on Hulu. They're cutting the cord. They're all going, everyone's going to having it all on your iPad. I'm watching this. I see my son constantly just staring at a phone this big, and I'm thinking to myself, can you really sit there all day? Apparently you can. It's a marathon. So as we go through, though, but that's where everybody is. Well, explain to us a little bit about advertising on streaming TV.
Sure. And for those of us on the live stream, feel free to share the show that you have binged during COVID. I'm sure everyone has one, if not more than they would like to admit. And Chris, that's a great segue, and kind of to build on what you just shared. We can also have content that's always available that's changing for streaming television. So we have content we put out there for COVID and other things like that. But you might not realize it. When you go on your TV and you click watch CBS or you click watch ESPN, if you don't have a cable box that you're accessing that on, you're watching streaming TV. Anything you're watching on your computer, your iPad, your phone that feels like what used to be called broadcast linear cable, that's streaming TV. So even the baby boomer generation, you have over 50% watching streaming television. That is something that always surprises people. They think, oh, people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, they're not cutting the cord. They have. Some of them don't realize that, but everyone is. So whenever you're accessing that, that's streaming television, and it offers us something wonderful. So previously I shared again, if you wanted to advertise in Denver on, the local CBS station, you were going to advertise all the way from the western part of the state to the eastern part of the state. You had no choice about that. You were going to pay in Denver at least $20,000 to $30,000 for one 30-second spot. One run, one 30-second spot, and you're going to wind up covering, areas you don't know anyone, you don't have a presence in, and if someone calls you, you might not even want to take that call. Now with streaming television, they know where you're located down to within really sometimes 100 feet. And it's great for the advertiser, it's great for the channel broadcasting, it's great for the consumer. I don't want to see advertisements of something that's a restaurant or an insurance agent or a real estate agent that's 200 miles away. Doesn't do me any good. So you're actually able, when someone clicks that button of, let's watch that show, let's watch ESPN. We have a lot of inventory on Hulu. For those that watch Hulu, even if you pay for the small package, you still get some ads. We're able to access that content. So, I'll pick one. I'm a big Law and Order SVU fan. I've binged some of that during COVID. Even those commercials come on, they know exactly where I am. I see local advertising, or I see people that want to be local. And for those on the call, have any of you seen your friends, your family, local business owners that on those commercials? Probably not. So you guys have that ability to stand out. And those commercials, again, it's the content that's approved from the commercial, but it's got your, rider basically on it with your name, your phone number, your information. Really, really powerful stuff, and you will reach all the right consumers doing it.
We have several ads out. We have several TV commercials that could be used. Kind of what's a we, and we have a bunch of funny shots that were done before, and that actually runs as the main part of the screen. But then below it, it would say the Chris Fluger Agency. Here's my address. Here's our location, and people watching it either would be friends and family or would be in that geo-targeted area. So they know when they're going to an office, it's my office they're going to. So I think it really does. And again, this is pennies on the dollar compared to what you would have to do. Not only, you look at what it costs to be on a Super Bowl, right? That's great. You see some national advertisers, and they do one ad a year so they can do a Super Bowl. And unless you won the award for the best ad, people have forgotten it like a day later. So, that's probably not your best ad spend ever is $10, $20 million. But in this case, you're talking about someone that's a local business person who's really trying to attract those local clients. I cover all of Stuart, Florida, so I want everybody in Stuart, Florida to know who I am, and that's the way to do it. It's a leverage a couple different angles. We're not saying everything else is dead, right? We're not saying that people don't still get mail. They just may spray it down before they touch it. But they're less inclined because they're so used to it. This type of thing, if you show up on streaming TV as a local professional, people go, wow, that guy is huge. And so it happens more often than not when people see that on the real estate side, on the insurance side, on the wealth management side. People are like, that guy must be doing really well. So it's something that draws clients in, and people always want to deal with successful people, right? They don't want to get the worst real estate agent in town or the worst insurance guy in town. They want to get the best, and this helps put you into that stratosphere with very few competitors. So.
Yes. Yeah, and Chris, Alex, real quick, I might have scared people with the $20,000 to $30,000. You're going to look like you're spending $20,000 to $30,000. With streaming television, what's great is you can spend a few $100s a month. So your ad will actually run for that whole month. You're not talking just one spot at one time, and that's the 3 a.m. time slot. So we do day part, which means your commercial will show during the day. Some of that carries over from the traditional TV market. But really, it's a few $100s, and that's for an entire month. And Chris, because you said it, you guys do have a lot of great commercials to leverage. The titles are the one-upper, the mansplainer, and the condescender. So you guys have some fun titles and content to run and leverage that. And Alex, you might have some stats too. I know Alex is on; he's got the stats all ready to go. But this absolutely builds on what you're doing, whether that's email or direct mail. Adding on kind of these innovative channels is just going to increase the performance of that advertising.
Yeah, streaming TV on average boosts other marketing efforts by 22%, boosts the reach of them, right? It increases things like branded search. People who are see your commercial, Google your business. 63% of people trust ads, and that's the last statistic, I promise. But really, what streaming TV can help do is really help level the playing field, right? I'm going to pick on Geico just because I already mentioned them. They have about 4 different ad campaigns that are running constantly. I see them all the time. And one thing that we hear, from producers all the time is my biggest challenge isn't just letting people know I exist, but letting them know that our option exists. Letting them know that, look, you can buy it, we can write you policies for these major carriers, but you're going to get that local business service, that white glove service that you would expect from a local business. And educating consumers on that, from what we hear a lot, is a huge problem. And it's a really great way to educate consumers. And I think your commercials do a great job of this, and do it on the exact same channels that you see those large carriers spending millions of dollars a month on.
And Alex, I'm going to build on one thing you and Chris both shared. This statistic scares me. And Alex, correct me if I'm a little off here, but about 75% of consumers trust television ads. It doesn't matter what the ad is saying. If it's on their TV, and again, our ads, we talked about iPads, we talked about TVs. Our commercials actually only really run on full format TVs. I got a TV behind me here. You're sitting in the living room, you're sitting with your family. I got a 48-inch TV. It's a little small. Some people probably have 70-inch TVs. It comes up real big. People trust that, and you should leverage that. Leverage the fact that consumers trust TV. You want to be on that channel. Again, it's a little bit scary how blanketly people will trust that, but you should leverage that for your business. Take advantage of that fact.
Well, in fact, people have no idea where to start. I mean, if I were sitting here today and I didn't know this, I would say, do I need to call the local TV station and maybe they'll connect me with a producer of some sort that can shoot, and then I got to get a whole production team to shoot we're talking a minimum tens of thousands of dollars to create, minimum, if I did it myself and really worked on it. And then, you obviously things that are millions out there, but you're side by side with those kind of things for hundreds of dollars. And so that's the part I think. Not only is this a great platform for people to get into, but it really does make it, again, I'm a busy person, right? I'm in insurance, I'm in real estate, I'm in wealth management, I'm doing my core business. I am not a creative person that puts together ads for on a daily basis, right? So I don't have big TVs, I don't have all the cameras, I don't have anything else for me to actually get that feedback, nor the creativity to do it. So this allows us to leverage what's already there and project that image out to, literally everyone we want to see us, either current clients or prospective clients. And again, I couldn't be more happy, with the actual product itself, but I'm actually thrilled with the ability to do it because it's almost like a mystery in every industry. We use those terms like, digital marketing, like, oh, there's going to be a team that does that. I had to go get a degree to figure out what that means, right? It's one of those nebulous terms. But the reality of it, it's fairly simple if we have a platform like we do with Adwerx. So I'm extremely excited about it. And again, I'm happy that we were able to bring that, not only to this broadcast and to share this with everybody, but, we ensure we use it very, very heavily and we're very excited about it. Anything else to add?
No, as a little thank you, Chris, to yourselves and Katie for those joining us for We Insure. We've taken a little bit extra off the advertising for the next week here. So if anyone would like to learn a little bit more, let us know. If you go to weinsure.adwerx.com, you can always do it yourself. As We Insure is doing across the board, it's turnkey. But obviously there are individuals like Alex and I happy to help, and we'd love to kind of show you really what the We Insure team has created and that we're powering. So just a big thank you to everyone being on the Facebook Live today, and it was a pleasure, Chris.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. We really appreciate it, and you're totally right. Our goal really is to democratize digital marketing. It is overly complicated, and it really doesn't have to be. So that's our goal, is to make it as simple as possible.
Well, I think we definitely pulled back the curtain on it today and given everybody at least an avenue to go down and figure out how to do it. And again, Wes, I appreciate the fact that you guys not only joined us today, but you helped our We Insure owners with a little bit of a discount so they can jump in and do more, marketing in our territories across the nation. So thank you guys very much for joining us, and you have a fantastic day.
You guys as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you too.